Hi, everyone.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning, ma'am. Oh, I
Okay,
just,
Arvind, sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Just one quick thing. Can you move me to the moderator piece? Because if you keep me as a participant, I can't mute and unmute myself when I want.
Yes, yes. Chintan sir, if you can hear me, please make Megha Gupta ma'am as a moderator so that it will be easy for her to unmute at any point of time
सर
whenever
कर
she
दिया
will
डन
done. Done. Okay, ma'am, the things are done. Uh, I think we can start within 1 or 2 minutes.
No, sorry, Arvind. I don't think so. They moved me as a moderator. They're asking me to mute and so if I now put myself on unmute, then again I have to ask the moderator to unmute me. So usually when I do these speaker sessions, they put me as a moderator, which is not the part of the participant. Then I'm able to mute and unmute myself. Or even share my screen. Like right now, I don't get an option to share my screen.
Ma'am, you have got the right of screen sharing also, because the domain what we have taken in the Zoom, it is something different than the corporate domain, so it might have some different characteristics.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, okay.
I can
Now,
see the screen here now. Yeah, but I'm just wondering, can I unmute when I want? Because I was facing in the start. Okay, now I can. Perfect.
okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Just wait. Hello. Uh, I think Mega ma'am, I think we can initiate, because director says sir has already joined, and Kanika ma'am will join in mid of the session because she is occupied for a while at some another meeting. So she'll join in the mid of the discussions what we have. So I think we can start that, sir, director sir. I think we can initiate.
Yeah, Arvind, please start.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning to one and all present here. Today is a very special day for Gitanjali Institute of Technical Studies. That is why, that is all because the real example of women empowerment is among all of us. Miss Megha Gupta ma'am, the Human Resource Director of a leading MNC Pfizer and a versatile HR professional of our country, to deliver an expert talk on a very energetic or a recent topic on HR trends in COVID-19. What kind of HR is taking place now, what will be there in the HR field in this COVID and after COVID. So she'll give an expert talk on that. Before narrating the brief profile of ma'am, I just wanted to tell everybody that before a month back on another platform, I have joined the expert talk of ma'am on learning and development, and I have got highly impressed the way she communicated and the way she delivered the talk. So it was really a honor, ma'am, that you have given the consent for giving the expert talk for our institute, for the student and faculty of our institute. So we are honored for this. Ma'am is having more than 15 years of HR experience across Fortune 500 companies in various domains like financial technologies, US-based IT services, telecom and creative sectors, with esteemed organizations like Publicis Sapient, SCL Infosystem, Tata Teleservices, and now with Fiserv. Her key areas of expertise include the strategic business management, organization development, leadership development, talent management, performance management, and employee engagement. She has presented the HR Leader Award by People Matters, and she truly believes that a great outcome can be achieved by harnessing the potential in an individual within the organization. And her mantra is to enable team by asking reflective questions so that they can come up with the real problem and solutions. With this, we again welcome, and now I would like to invite our respected director, Dr. Vikas Misra sir, to give away the welcome address. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Arvind. Am I audible, Arvind?
Yeah, yes, audible.
Good morning, one and all. Good morning, ma'am. Friends.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, ma'am. Friends, it is indeed a great privilege and honor for Gitanjali Institute of Technical Studies, for Gitanjali family, and personally to me also, to have this honor and privilege of welcoming Honorable Ms. Megha Gupta ma'am, Corporate Human Resource Director of Fiserv. Ma'am, on behalf of Gitanjali family, on behalf of GITS, I heartily welcome you to this virtual platform. We are extremely thankful to you that you have given your kind consent for addressing to our students, to our faculties, and sharing your words of wisdom, and moreover, taking out time to guide the student to discuss about the upcoming HR practices. And as we all are aware, and this now I am maintaining since last few time, that now is the time probably where we need to look beyond Corona. It is a new normal. We can't stick to just COVID or Corona situation, because now it's a new normal. We have to see this as a part of our life, seeing this as a reference datum. Every sector has to now operate and formulate their policies and strategies, so as this applies to education sector also. And that's what a very wonderful thing, at least when it comes to Indian perspective, we have seen, and this I am maintaining since very the start of this current situation, that whatever digital transformation, whatever uses of IT technologies we have seen since March, probably in 3 months, in 3 to 4 months in last quarter, whatever progress across India have made in terms of digital technology, in terms of digital platform, it is immense, it is commendable. In normal situation, it would have taken at least minimum 1 5-year plan. If not that, at least 2 years would have certainly taken to use this type of strategy. Industry as well as all the other organizations sector have very quickly adopted to the situation. And when it comes to, although I'm not a competent person to talk about HR practices, but when it comes to technology or when it comes to employment creation, I'm of a very firm belief that there is no dearth, there is no scarcity of employment. Industry is always looking for competent person, rather educational institutes are failing to supply that competent stuff to the industry. There is no scarcity rather. There are data from CII that more than 60 lakh skilled workforce are needed in the area of automation. So personally, I believe there is enough job opportunities for the talent in every sector. What is more important in this current situation for all the youth or for all the aspiring students, those who are into different campuses, that we need to focus more on our skill development. This era is going to be more oriented and dominated by skill. Apart from education, fine, we are having a qualification, that is fine, that might serve as an entry gateway. But what skill we are having? So this is a time where all have to work upon in the process of both upskilling and reskilling. Both the skills upgradation is important. And personally, that is what my belief. There are many sectors, obviously with the current situation, there are many sectors which have got huge potential to grow. Probably rural sector, rural infrastructure, urban infrastructure is going to see a major developmental changes because of the migrant moving to their respective places. Now, lot many local SMEs, lot many small pocket of industries will be generated in a small clusters within an area of 50 to 100 kilometers. So that is an area which is going to see a huge development or huge demand of manpower. Healthcare is a vertical which is going to be having a lot boom, because now probably every government globally across on this earth have realized the importance of creating a good ecosystem of the health infrastructure. And when it is a health infrastructure, it will be coming with lot of supporting industries. Lot many startups will be coming up. Obviously, IT is the sector which is going to be the probably one of the most dominating one, because with the current situation, work from home is probably going to be a big reality. IT industry was up till now using this, but since March, now every sector has moved from to work from home concept. Many are still continuing, some are partially opening with reduced manpower, but work from home concept is going to be now a reality. And probably the benefits of also these, everything comes with certain plus and minus, but I'm sure industry will be also evaluating. And Megha Gupta, we can't have a better expert than ma'am to throw light on what are going to be the trends. But I'm sure there might be certain changes in the analyzing process, in the assessment process by industries also when it comes to the hiring of freshers, because now probably digital IQ is going to play a major role. Knowing digital platform is also, but digital etiquettes, digital IQ is going to be one of the important factors in what way youth are going to use that thing. This I am always maintaining, that now is the time where youth has to see the problem surrounding to us with a more cautious mind. As a student or as a faculty, I should not be only seeing the problem just as a problem, but problem with a approach to, am I having that solution? Can I create certain solution to the problem which we are having? Lot many hackathons and all those things are being carried out, which are being doing. I'm sure industries or HR leaders are also into that brainstorming process. Lot many now probably virtual hiring will be taking place. Companies will probably not preferring to travel. And I'm sure with these type of platform, it is now almost only probably the thing which is happening with current situation, that we are not able to physically meet with person, but with digital platform, with webinar, it is almost like meeting one-to-one. Just the physical presence of the experts are missing. In terms of that personal touch is missing, rest everything is being operated in the same fashion. So probably lot many recruitment process will be taking place on virtual platform. Probably video resume is going to play a major role also. And I'm happy to share with ma'am also that seeing this, we have already started, we are into very active process of creating that video resume of our graduating batch. Almost 90% we are done with that. So, but with these are the things probably which are now going to take place. I'm not going to take much of the time, since ma'am is here. She is the competent person, the right expert person to talk about all those things. Once again, ma'am, I welcome you on behalf of Gitanjali family. We are extremely honored and privileged to have you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Arvind.
Thank you, sir, for your kind word. And with this, now, again, I'll not take much of the time, because we are here to hear the expert talk of Megha Gupta ma'am. And I must tell you, because in this Corona time or the COVID time, most of the organizations and most of the employees are there, they have the jobs on stake. But in that period, the HR role has completely got increased, and it has empowered also, because HR is the people, or HR is the resource who really motivate the employees and to give a way how they can move ahead. With this, I welcome and invite Megha ma'am to initiate with the expert talk. Over to you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sharing my screen. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, ma'am. We have.
Okay, perfect. So, first of all, thank you so much. I feel really, really humbled to be invited for the Gitanjali Institute of Technical Studies. So, thank you so much. The way that, I have planned this session was, to be more interactive, because, I don't want this to be a monotonous dialogue and not to be a one-on-one dialogue, but to have it extremely, participative and, more open-ended as well. We will definitely take questions in the end, but definitely your open conversation and participation will absolutely make it more fruitful for each one of us. Now, quickly to talk about where I come from. Pfizer is a fintech organization. It's a Fortune 500 today, and we are globally 45,000 people. Last year we acquired a equal size company to us, which is First Data, which absolutely was a big thing in the fintech industry, and that's how Pfizer fundamentally believe in. Now think about Pfizer as an organization. As today, if you go to a Shopper Stop or swipe your card, so right from the card that you swipe to the technology behind the machine or the equipment that the Shopper Stop is using to have your payment gateway, to ensure that the payment is absolutely safe and secure, to ensure that the money gets transferred for your account of HDFC to Shopper Stop account of ICICI, and in case if the transaction has some issues or you want a refund, how do you connect back to the customer care and all of that behind it. It's the back end behind all of these operations is Pfizer. So that's what we do, by the way. So our entire business evolves around the financial institutions, which is bank, cooperative societies, or your online payment gateway. All of this is done by Pfizer. In fact, if you've recently gone to an ATM or swiped your card, there are 90% chance down below you would see an entity from an ICICI or a HDFC slips named as Pfizer, because we are actually making that payment or solution really enabling for the bank / the financial institutions. So that's what we do from an organization standpoint. If I have to talk about the HR trends, I have a couple of slides that I'll walk you through, but I'm going to keep a couple of time in the end to ensure that we have more questions from each one of you, because I'm sure there were multiple questions that will come about it, as Dr. Vikas mentioned around the skills, the rehiring, what should you guys prep up for. We'll absolutely have an open conversation around those as well. So with that, let me start. I know that we're already at 11:26. I'm very mindful of the time that we have on hand, so I'll try to go a little fast in interest of time as well. Keep your mobile phone or your laptop handy, because I do have to begin with a small quiz for each one of you. So just to have that ice breaking and to ensure that we understand this a lot better. So that's what we're going to do. So quickly moving on. This is a quick thought that I have. While COVID-19 is a big pandemic that we never was prepared, the world wasn't prepared for. Recently, I was attending an event from NASA, in one of the HR conferences, and the NASA person was coming and sharing her story around, she's from HR as well, interestingly. And, some of the very interesting thoughts that she shared about, NASA is, by the way, working from home. They are facing the similar issues that we are facing with our people around the fact on burnouts, around the fact that, they don't have household support, the kids don't have school, and the individual has to literally manage everything on their own. So that's a situation that everyone is. And, I fundamentally believe that if NASA is facing a similar challenges, I don't think so any big institutes or organization would have a fallback plan or a thought through strategy around it. It was literally like a strategy where everyone got into it together. Nobody was planned. Nobody ever thought that it's going to be 100% work from home, and we all survived through it and survived it into a very well thing. So I fundamentally believe when COVID-19 will end or will not end, I don't know, but absolutely the world is going to look very, very different than what it is today. We have already seen organizations announcing, permanent work from home or a year ahead work from home, which is going to be fundamentally way beyond with what we ever thought the world will look like, which means, couple of topics in the HR agenda or the organization agenda has already stopped in to say, what's your location strategy, to talk about what's your workforce strategy going forward, because all of it has been now the hot topics with obviously the pandemic situation that we are into. Now, with that thought, let me quickly talk and take you towards the small activity before we actually get into the presentation mode. So I'll all request you to either open your laptops or your mobile phones and quickly go through this exercise. Just a quick caveat, it's not poll.ev, it's poll EV together. I made a small error in this. So if you can just quickly go to this, you don't have to download any app. You just have to type this and go to the ID that I have mentioned. So I'll give you a quick. So let me know when you guys are ready and we will start with this exercise. And Arvind, let me know when you believe that people are ready.
Hello. Yes, ma'am. I think we have to put our name when we are opening it. The link.
So just, as I said, it's www.pollev.com, and then you get an ID. You have to type Megha Gupta 623. Once you do that, you would be able to get into this window. Are you guys with me? Should we start? Oh, yes, I already see one person has responded. What about others? Okay, we have started to get response. Excellent. So I see a lot of responses coming in.
Ma'am, your voice is not audible properly.
Can you hear me now?
I think
Yes,
voice is clear.
Okay. Okay, so the question that was, and I'm going to move fast now, when will the economic activity return to the level that it was before pandemic? I believe most of you have responded around H1 2021, which is 70% of you believe that, it should return in H1 2021, okay, which is like next starting of the year. Okay, fair enough. So I'll move on to the next question. And here you have the next question. When do you think will the business travel return to the level it was before pandemic? And let's make it quick, guys. It's on your phone. You can quickly respond. Okay. And there are no right and wrong answers. Let me call that out. It's just a point of view that you guys have. Okay, so 47% of this group believes that, you know, it's mostly around next year, same time, which is a year from now. Okay. And I'm going to, are you guys done? You're still responding. 50%, wow. Okay, so we got the majority. Let's move on. The next one, when do you think, you know, at least 90% of the workforce will return to the usual, you know, work office locations? Mm-hmm. 43%, okay. 43%, okay, wow. So almost 48%. So majority here believes that again it would be H1 2021. Okay, very, very optimistic group. The next one. In January 2021, how do you expect that the total employment of companies to compare what it was at the start of this year? What do you think, you know, will the company have the same headcount as compared to when we started this year? Or do you think it's going to be the same? Do you think it's going to be higher? What do you think? Oh, majority of you believe it's going to be lesser. Wow, okay. So you believe the headcount of majority of the organizations are going to be way lesser than what it was when we started this year. Okay, I'll move on to the next question. What do you think in the organizations, what will be the impact of the technology transformation? Will it become, you know, will it be much faster than what it is today? Do you think it's going to have no impact because of pandemic, or do you think it's going to be much slower? Okay, so most of you believe that it's going to be much higher than it was. You know, it's going to absolutely accelerate than, you know, what people actually thought about. Okay, 90%. Excellent. So I'm moving next. Which country or region do you see as presenting as the best investment opportunity for next year? Now you guys got a hang of this tool. Okay, wow. Most of you believe it's going to be India. Okay. India. Okay. I will move next. And I don't know why is the screen behaving like this. Okay, after the pandemic passes, the world has completely changed. What do you think? Wow, most of you, as you can see, believe that, you know, absolutely the world will completely change once the pandemic has passed. Okay. 52%, 44, 54. Okay. And I'm moving to the next one. The most important thing that the crisis has taught me. Anything open-ended. What do you want to write? Why is this? What is this nonsense? Positive, lean management, okay? Adapting, change. Anything that comes to your mind, keep it single word, positivity, okay? Survival, okay? Hygiene, okay? Health. Stuck. Yoga. Okay, excellent. So thank you so much. I think you guys were very, very participative. Let me just switch to my screen. Now you guys would be wondering, why did we play this game, right? And the reason that we played this game was primarily because of the fact that, you know, this was not something that, you know, we played at a normal scenario. Sorry, do you guys see this unnecessary cursor thing, the red and the black on the screen? Or is it only me? Give me 1 second, guys. Just give me 1 second. Sorry for this glitch, but
Yes. Chintan sir, can you help us, Megha ma'am, why this
हाँ सर, एक सेकेंड.
why this kind of shoes?
it's coming on my screen share.
Okay. The laptop maybe it can be touch screen, so it might have some issues.
I don't think so. Touch, how will touch have a color? Can I just stop sharing and just share again, I guess? It's quite irritating to do this.
Chintan sir, why it is happening? You can give us the idea.
No problem. Let me share again.
No, one sec now.
Have you shared again, ma'am?
Give me 30 seconds. I'm just opening my deck again.
हेलो.
Okay. Is it fine now?
हाँ, नहीं आ रहा सर, मूवी के एंड से या तो है.
Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Now it is fine. We can see the screen.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. Now we can see, ma'am. Now we can
I don't know what was that unnecessary thing, but okay. So the reason why we played that game was because this was not a poll that we played ourselves, but this was something that, you know, the Fortune 5, there was a survey that was done in Q2, which was basically for the Fortune 500 people that was primarily done. Now, what happened was, in the survey standpoint, there was multiple CEOs from the Fortune 500 companies like ours have responded to this survey, and now you can see the survey responses that the CEOs believe what is going to happen to the world. Now, this is a point of view. Obviously, nobody knows what's exactly going to happen, but think about if this survey was done by the Fortune 500 people, CEOs, this is what they responded. Now, similar to like yours, 53% people or the CEOs believe that the total employment compared before is going to be much lesser than what it is today. Most of the people believe that they're never going to see the same level of business travel or the workplace situation. They fundamentally believe that it's going to be absolutely different than what it is today when it comes to the pandemic situation. That means we're never going back into the same world that it was. The world is going to absolutely be different. Work from home has come to be a biggest thing that nobody thought that we can absolutely go to 100% work from home. We've never tried that, we have never tested that, but the world have seen that the productivity does increase when it comes to work from home, and it's going to be a biggest factor for all of us to consider when it comes to the future of workplaces. India interestingly came out to be one of the places to think about investment, while US still charted when it comes to the investment opportunity. But India started to see definitely as a traction around the fact that if they have to do an investment opportunity for next year, they would consider India as one of the geography when it comes to other geographies as well. So this was a brief of the study. In case you guys are interested to read more about it, there is much more in the study. I can absolutely share with this group, but I'll move on for now. The gist of the slide, and I'm going to obviously speed up a little bit in interest of time. What we'll also start to see is, while Uber, Airbnb, Boeing, and Hilton had something in common, which is around the talent piece. Earlier, the talent or the brand was known by, what kind of HR/talent strategies that organization operate. But going forward, that's not going to be just being the top tier brand. The stakeholders have already started organizations around, how should companies be treating their people in times of pandemic situation? How companies will be responding to the coronavirus situation? How companies are adapting to it? How should stakeholders believe that, tomorrow if any other pandemic happens, how are organizations prepared to manage crisis situations? I think these would absolutely be couple of things that would enable people to have big brands. And you would also see a lot of Fortune 500 companies in next year list would be a very different and the top tier employer/brand that will start coming up. So I think those would be couple of insights that I would say you would start to see from a business/industry standpoint. Now, coming to the big question around what are the workplace trends that you would have going forward. Now, if I have to talk about the first big piece around the physical and the mental well-being, the top biggest 5 challenges that HR faces today with the pandemic situation is the way that we look at the physical and the mental well-being. Now, we have already started to see in our organization or the industry around the biggest topic of burnout. People have started with obviously everything being work from home, not having enough household support. There is a level of stress that people have gone in through because they don't have a start time, they don't have an end time. We see that people are not taking holidays because obviously there's nowhere to go. So people are not necessarily taking even a single day off, which obviously then adds to the physical and the mental stress. So the way that HR has started to thought about is what do we want to do from a well-being standpoint, whether it's obviously taking care of their families to, organizing couple of sessions to even thinking about, does your insurance plan covers coronavirus and its impact. So, a lot has been around thinking about, earlier organizations like Airbnb, Microsoft, Google would provide immense facilities around, how do you engage or well-being around providing gym memberships to around providing free meals in the organization. Now, there is nothing like a physical infrastructure today, which means they have to fundamentally think about what their go-to strategy around the well-being standpoint for people. And they will have to reinvent the cycle to think about what do I want to offer to my associates, which are going to be absolutely different than what the industry is providing. So that's the biggest top one challenge for HR industry today. The second piece is around, how do I engage and, provide effectiveness in the work that I do. Now, with work from home being the normal new, the biggest question the CEOs are asking HR is, around the fact that, how do I measure the productivity? Multiple HR people are getting questions around, the fact with the work from home environment, how do we start measuring the productivity of people? Now, there are multiple tools that are available in the organization today, whether it's to measure productivity through effectiveness, or should it be time tracking, or what do we do? I think that's a big challenge that HR has, along with how do I engage my associate while they're at home, because there are no physical engagement activities that are happening. So how do I do that? I think that those are a couple of big questions that we have. The third big piece is around the remote working. So remote working is another one that, I face that, is a big challenge today, which means, not just work from home, but, what is going to be the location strategy going forward. I've already heard a couple of ID startups along with big brands to, completely give away their location, and they're thinking about, 100% remote working, which means, tomorrow you will start to hear job profiles from organization to say, hey, XYZ job, it's for finance, or it's for a marketing, or for an IT. However, what you would hear is location would be absolutely free because it's a 100% work from home. So you can work from Timbuktu, nobody would care. What they care about the fact that you have the right infrastructure to work, which means the right bandwidth connection. Maybe you would start to see on the job description that, being on video call is mandatory, which we never thought about. Today, even when I go on a call, video is not a mandatory, but that maybe becomes like a mandatory requirement in future, because you would start to see a lot more around the fact that you can work from anywhere. Till the time you're working, nobody cares. So I think that's the biggest challenge to solve for from a location model of the large organization, to say what's the location strategy and how do we solve for it, is going to be a big ask from HR going forward as well. The fourth piece is around, how do you facilitate change, and, what's the new culture that all of this will bring in? Because if your well-being offering is going to be very different, how do you measure productivity is different, how do you engage with people is different, where your associate works from is going to be different, which means the culture that you have today of the organization is absolutely being different, which means while the transparency and openness will be much higher, but at the same time, how do you measure a couple of those factors are going to be extremely, extremely different. And hence, how do you facilitate change and shape culture is going to be fundamentally different than, what we see today. So I believe that's the biggest challenge that, HR will face around, what's the new culture that we have to solve for, and how do you stitch together is a big one. The last piece, and I believe you guys would be much more interested in this shift in the demand and supply for workflows. Now, with remote working coming in, the biggest piece that, we started to think about is, if we are working from home today, that means we are not restricted to hire people from tier one cities only. If we tomorrow become 100% remote from home, for example, which means, we absolutely open up a huge way of, where do we attract talent from? That means, we don't have to attract talent from, say, only Delhi, or say Pune, or say a Chennai, but you can attract talent from, say, a Chandigarh or a C-class cities, because we are not caveated around the fact that, people have to come and relocate to that city. But if people have to work from remote, that's going to be fundamentally shifting the demand and supply of the workforce itself, which means obviously thinking about aspects around how do we hire, whether, if it is going to be 100% remote, which means all the interviews needs to happen remotely. So it's fundamentally changed all the strategies in HR, what we apply today versus how it's going to see from a future standpoint. Now, as we say that with every challenge, it brings in the opportunities for HR as well. Now, whether it's thinking about, how to bring the safety and the security of the workforce. Now, today already, some organizations have gone to calling 50% of their workforce to 30% of their workforce. Yesterday's challenge was around, nobody can tailgate the organization. But today the challenge is not about tailgating, but it's about, how do you ensure that people believe that it's an absolutely safe place to go go and start to work. So that right from, how do you ensure that you measure and monitor or thermoscan people, to saying, if there is even a single case that comes out in the office premise, how do you sanitize? How do you re-ensure that people believe that it's a very, very safe and the secure place to go and work together? So that is one of the biggest opportunity for HR to tackle today, because tomorrow, to attract talent, people will ask that, okay, if you are asking me to come to the workplace, how safe is this place for me to join this organization? I think that will become like a big question for the organizations to solve for. The second is opportunity area for HR is to completely digitize the experiences or the touch point that associate today face for. Now, whether it's related to efficiency, whether it's related to onboarding, whether it's related to how do we recruit talent today, to saying how do you submit your claims, to how do you exit from the organization, everything needs to go paperless, everything needs to become digitization. Now, IT organizations, of course, are way much ahead of the curve. They were not waiting for pandemic to really realize this factor, and they have gone paperless long before. But for many other industries like manufacturing, or from even couple of other organizations, pharmaceutical, they still have a way to go and think about how do they digitize the entire experience from hire to retire, so that there are no touch points from a physical standpoint, but absolutely everything happens seamlessly through leveraging a technology standpoint. So that's one of the biggest opportunity that I foresee for HR coming together. The third, as I said, the change management and shifting mindsets. A lot of HR is facing challenge, while the global organizations are way much beyond, and they are thinking ahead. Like our organization announced a work from home till December very recently, but a lot of organizations from India standpoint, like I recently heard JK Tires, being that piece, they are calling everybody to offices from last 2 months. And I believe this is nothing more than, shifting that mindset to say that, work can still happen. Not a physical requirement is required. If you have a laptop and a right internet connectivity, you can absolutely change the way that, the new normal will look like. And I think HR will play a big role in changing those mindsets and the behaviors within the organization and the leaders going forward as well. The fourth piece is obviously redesigning the employee engagement journey, right from doing virtual engagement shows to virtual radio shows to virtual family days to virtual award ceremonies. I think we have already seen a new trend coming in this place, and this place will absolutely grow as going forward as well, which means your employment engagement journey is going to look very, very different, to everything being digitized, to everything being online, to virtual gamification. A lot of it will start to see as a normal new when it comes to the employee engagement journey as well. And the last point that you would see is a big change around how do we learn today. Now, this is not just true for the corporate world, but true for, say, a Gitanjali team or any other institutions, wherein your learning will become absolutely blended form, which means a less focus on classroom, but a more focus on the digital one, which means a lot more sushi bite sessions will start to come in, a lot more sessions around, which are going to be small scale, but self-driven will be a big factor, which means there would be content that would be curated and provided to you through a platform. And imagine you would not be saying that, oh, this is the time for your classroom session that you have to come, but it would be part of your online platform journey. Now you need to decide whether I want to complete all the courses in a day, or do I want to spread it across like an hour every day, or should I be doing 10 days in a week or a 10 days in a month that I want to complete those courses. You would be on the driver's seat to decide, how do you want to have those self-driven sessions, rather than today's scenario of, oh, there is a session, you need to come to that classroom or to a virtual session. That's the time. If you miss it, you miss it. I think, this is going to be a big change in the learning, that the way that people learn. And, this is going to be a more self-driven, technology-enabled platform with schools, campuses, colleges, your MBA institutes, even organizations have started to adapt a lot more in this space as well. Now, what can we as an HR do? And this is primarily my last slide. And, we can then open up for question and answers. And we have seen a lot of success around this, which is, what each one of us as an HR or, as a leader in the organization or the space that we operate into can follow. The first piece is absolutely around communication. We need to assure that with the pandemic that we have seen today, we need to maintain a very, very open and the transparent communication, which means have more and more channels for people to voice out their opinions and concern. People have started to feel burned out. What we did in the pandemic situation and even till today, what we follow is we started to do a daily huddle, which means right from top to down, everybody conducts a daily huddle for a quick 15 to 20 minutes to talk about, how we're managing the crisis situation, how we're going to do it, how are people feeling, what should we solve for. And this starts from morning 9 a.m. to end up goes till midnight, depending on the time zone that people are in. And everybody does it for their direct reports so that, everybody hears the same message. Everybody understands what's going on in the organization. Everybody understands what's the voice on the ground and how are we solving for it. And that's a big, success factor that we have seen in our organization and many other organizations that are here outside as well, which means, in a pandemic or a crisis situation, the best thing that works out is keeping an open and transparent channel of communication. And I hope that institutes and MBA institutes have started to follow this as well, which means not just top-down communication, but hearing from how students are feeling, what will work for them in this scenario, I think would work wonders to manage the crisis situation as well. The second piece is, just, showing and being empathetic and being true to people as well. See, these are tough times and everybody understand that, our associates or our employees don't feel, that, with the crisis situation, their responsibilities have just become multifold. Women are struggling to manage household plus schools of students to, obviously their household activities have completely, become double fold or triple fold. So, just be empathetic to people, just be patient, give them that flexibility and, have that trust with them. Ensure that, people do feel supportive in this rather than feeling anxious or, feeling, oh my God, what's going to happen. Ensure that, they are, the managers or leaders are absolutely flexible with them. Flexibility works, goes a long way when it comes to building trust and providing support to our associate. I think that is something that is always my advice to leadership, to say that, be more empathetic, because you would see absolutely people working in different time zones. And, our role is to be empathetic and to hear to them out and how do you solve for them at a real life standpoint. The third piece is leveraging data. I think every organization has a lot of data within themselves. I think this is the time that, we need to ensure that first of all, our data storage is absolutely online. A lot of organizations even struggle today where they used to maintain hard copies and the file which were not electronically managed. I think that's a big thing that they will have to start doing, which means electronic managing all the data that they have. And obviously once you do that, how do you start monitoring and continuously drive analysis from the data, right from attrition to engagement to, having increasingly dispersed workflows? How do you manage and make sense of that data and provide that sense to the leadership as well? I think that would be a big mover or measurement analysis going forward for HR team as well. The fourth big piece that I've been always call out, HR plays a very, very big role around the change. How do you drive change for the organization and for people is the most important thing for any HR expert today, which means right from looking at, what changes that you need to make in your processes, policies, in the midst of coronavirus is absolutely important. Like think about it, right from normal leaves that people avail, we have started to give more leaves to people because we believe that, this pandemic situation definitely required people to take much more leave than they were taking today. Now, this was not something that we ever thought of before, but that means we need to change our policies when it comes to flexibility, when it comes to providing more leaves to our associates. I think that's a new thing that, you will absolutely see. So driving change is a big thing that I foresee HR to, absolutely drive and, be on the driver's seat and support our leaders and the people to around moving forward towards it. So that's the end. I know that we are absolutely on time of 12, but I do want to take a couple of questions, thoughts, whatever comes to your mind. I know I moved a little fast in interest of time. Not sure if you guys have another session beyond this, but absolutely open to take questions.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you very much. I think we are having some questions. We have got. I think I can moderate the question for you, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
Please.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, ma'am. One of our team member in our institute, the MBA faculty, Manoj Kumar sir, has asked the question that top 5 skills as must have for the management student fresher post COVID. What do you feel that which top skills any MBA student must have to deal with this COVID, and after COVID, how they can deal in the environment?
Sure. So great question, Manoj. Let me start by saying that, when we see that one of the question in the study as well that we saw was, how the workforce will look like. I believe that, every industry today is struggling in terms of, one is the stability standpoint, and second is obviously from the growth standpoint, which means organizations are going to become very, very particular about the talent that they're going to hire, because today organizations will not hire for a specific skill set, which is say for a Java or a technical skill. So absolutely having technical knowledge is important, but organizations are now going to hire people who are much more reskillable in that nature, which means you may be a Java expert, but are you willing to learn a lot more in the organizations? Because organizations also doesn't know how their future business strategy is going to be. Now, if the future business strategy tomorrow is going to be moving to a more engineering culture, which means, you need to be expert in one particular field, but, you should know a lot more beyond the depth and expertise of only one skill. The rescalability and the relearning factor, which is going to be very, very high. So organizations are going to look for talent who are open to reskill themselves, or talent who are more open towards moving roles within the organizations, because now organization no more want people only for a particular skill set, but want to look for a much more expertise and, reskilling factors. So that's going to be one top skill that I would say people will look for. Second piece is that organizations look for is a lot more collaboration. I think I always go to any college and campus and talk about collaboration. So people don't want individual contributors. People want that people can collaborate and openly talk about issues, openly talk about challenges that they are facing, and not solved by themselves, but rather solved in a group of or cohort of people, which means how do they interact with your peer group? How do you interact and talk to multiple other team members to solve for that challenge? I think that's the big skill that organizations look for. Even today, when we do a performance appraisal, we are okay if you are not got 100% score in your technical skills or the technical expertise that we're looking for, but we're not okay if you're not ready to collaborate with your peers. If we get feedback around the fact that, hey, this person doesn't go gel with the peer group, or is not ready to listen to feedback, I think those are couple of softer skills that organization are just not okay with. And I think we all as a human being needs to understand that people are not looking for superheroes individually, but looking for a superheroes who are much more collaborative and work in a team setup. So I think those would be couple of skills that I would say that organizations really look for. You would already see couple of organizations coming with couple of assessment centers or soft skill aspect, and that's what they look for. That people are more collaborative, people are more vocal, people are more open to solve challenges in a group setting than obviously being in an individual contributor setting. So I think that would be my short answer on that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the answer. I think the student of management, they have got the answer, what they were looking for. One more question, again, it came from the MBA students. Many companies and organizations want in HR job experience, like 6 months and 1 year experience. But in this situation, what will be a fresher has to do in this COVID situation? Because the student wanted to ask that in many HR profile, every companies are offering the HR job to only those people who has the experience. So if some fresher want to apply for this kind of job in the core HR field, how they can go for it and how they can opt for this kind of opportunities?
Yeah. So, see, I would say that, obviously people who have experience take that lead around the fact that, okay, if you have experience, then, we don't have to start from the scratch. But having said that, every organization, pegs that role to say whether this is a fresher role, vis-a-vis, do we want for this role an experienced person. And every organization have a laid out strategy around this fact that, for this particular set of role, we will only hire fresher. And for this set of role, we will absolutely hire only a 6 months to 1 year experience or a little more than that. And even which colleges to go, which campus to go, or which role we want to go to which campus. I think those are a couple of strategies that we decide when we have to hire a campus, especially when we have to go through a campus and hire through a campus hire. So if an organization has come to a campus for hiring, I think you should take away that fact that they will only hire an experienced person, because they've already decided in their head that we are going to go for this particular HR position into the campuses. So they're not that point of time looking whether you're a fresher or whether you are an experienced hire. What they're really looking for is that person have a really subject matter expertise, what this person brings under the fact on the HR fraternity around the fact that how they're going to have conversation with the leaders, is the person look mature enough. I think those are a couple of things that organization look for. They really don't care when they come to campus around experience and non-experience, because as I said, they're really looking for a great talent, and they're not really looking for experience, because if they had to look for an experience, they would have first of all not come to campus, and by default they would have gone through a recruiter or their own talent acquisition team to say, hey, I need minimum 1 year of experience, why don't you hire somebody from me?
Rightly said, ma'am. Definitely, if an organization are going for the recruitment, then they will never think about the experience. Definitely, they go for the fresher candidate. Before going for another question, I just wanted to ask one question as an institute or taking care of the CDC part of the institute. Uh, when the leadership team of HR of any Fortune 500 companies or any top organization in the world, when they think about going for any campus recruitment, or to think about choosing any institute for their campus recruitment process, so what kind of things they keep in their mind when they think about choosing any institute at a national level or at a international level? That is because you are taking care of this kind of whole HR profile. So I think we can get the answer.
Yeah. So first thing I want to call out, and I'll not mince my word. See, think about it. HR is a small function in any organization. Now, India, say for example, we are 7,000 people. HR is as small as 50 people today, right? And out of 50 people, I would say mostly are 15 to 20 people are from talent acquisition. That's the largest team. The second largest is our learning and development team, followed out by HR business partners, and then obviously niche functions, which is like a comp and ben HR operations are very, very small, like a 2 or 3 people team member team. Now, so HR roles are always limited because it's obviously a support function in the organization. Now, if you have smaller team, you obviously want to hire the best. Let's be real about it, right? Second thing is the fact is the ability to pay how much. Now, if at a fresher role, and depending on what organizations, where even in Fortune 500, I've seen varied pay scale when it comes to a fresher standpoint. Now, if your pay range in an organization is say starting at 3 lakhs and goes up to 5 lakh, your organization will not care so much about what institutes. They will go to multiple institutes and rather pick the best out of them when it comes to the campus hire. But if the organization like a Microsoft or a Google, they will have their strategy only for top B schools and would want to hire the best out of them, because their pay range would be somewhere around starting from 6 lakhs and goes up to 11 to 12 lakhs even at a fresher level. So it absolutely depends on from a pay range, what's the pay range they want to obviously follow. If the pay range obviously is at a higher end, they will not shy away to go to the best of the institutes. If the pay range is as normal as any other fresher institute are offering, They obviously decide among what kind of campuses have started to come in, what kind of students are you accommodating, and they would obviously pick the best for HR. Trust me, because at the end of the day, when I was picked up from campus, I was a campus hire, by the way, in Tata Group. When I was hired, I was the only one among I think we had a batch of 200 that point of time. I was the only one candidate that they selected for HR. And almost they had their own criteria of 60 plus, and Tata Group still follows that, right? They only hire talent across the Tata Group, which is only 60% across throughout. Top A grade in MBA Institute as well. They have that criteria. So obviously the first round of shortlisting is that. And if you get into that, only then you come for the PI round. If you come for the PI round, and as I said, only one candidate, and they went to almost 5 candidates, including Symbiosis. I remember that point of time, and out of that, they only selected one candidate for HR. So HR is going to be tough field. HR is going to be a very, very difficult. And I'll be very honest. In my campus, out of 180 to 200 people, there were only 10 people across the board who went to HR field. Rest everybody changed their field to marketing or something else, because there aren't so many HR jobs in the organizations. And I want to be very, very clear, because the number of institutes that we have, the number of MBA institutes have started to offer HR roles. I really doubt that there are so many HR roles in the industry today as well.
Yeah, thanks for the answer, ma'am. What we were expecting, because we just wanted to know that any HR professional, when they are hiring the people as a fresher from any institute, what basically they look for, and what any organization, whether it is a Fortune 500 or any top organization, what they are looking in any institute. So we have really got the answer, and definitely any top institute want to do the work in that area, and definitely we are also going ahead for the same. And with this, now I would like to welcome Kanika ma'am also. She is also one of the real example in front of us in the form of women empowerment. She is leading the institute, the Gitanjali group, and because of some another commitment, she couldn't join at the early stage, but she has told that she'll join soon, because the Megha Gupta ma'am is among us. That is all because of ma'am only, because she has motivated me, or we have got connected. Or really, it was a wonderful session today, ma'am. We learned, because I am also one of the HR professionals, so I know that how we can manage the resources, and the resource is the real asset for any organization. If the resources are satisfied, then they'll do wonders. So with this, I request ma'am to say a few words, because we all were waiting for this, and we want the kind word of yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Arvind. Hi, everybody. Hi, Megha. How are you? It's been really long.
Really, so
glad to see you here. So happy. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for saying yes and coming for a webinar for us. Really happy, and I've heard so many praises about you from everyone back in college, especially Arvind. Really praised you a lot. I'm so sorry I missed the meeting today, because we had a board meeting. I'm so sorry. And lovely to see you and everybody. I hope everyone else really enjoyed. And let's catch up, Megha. Let's meet whenever you're going to come next to Jaipur. Yeah.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, so absolutely, Kanika. I think pleasure was all mine. Trust me. When I got to know, honestly, when I said yes, I didn't knew that you're part of the institute. But obviously, we connected, and for everyone, so we share a history. So Kanika and I go long back, since our childhood, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think many years we studied together, not knowing that we'll connect like this again. So
absolutely.
Earlier it was. Yeah, it was like just one institute, but when I got to know Kanika is part of it, I was like, I was literally waiting for this session. Not that I wait for every session, everything is like, okay, I have to do it. But this one was really special for me as well, personally, I would say. So
Same
I
here.
feel
Same here.
very, very proud. And I would say for all of you, when I heard, what Kanika is doing, I was like really, really proud. And Arvind, you mentioned something about women empowerment. I was thinking, being in corporate, I literally started to feel, what Kanika is doing today. I was like so proud that, wow, she's literally like owning up this institute and doing so much. I was thinking to myself, wow, that's like a tremendous thing that she's done for herself.
Thank you so much, Megha. Those are really kind words. Thank you. I'm really proud of you too. I mean, to be how you just said that you were selected from a campus and then you've reached to such level. It's amazing. It's really a proud friend talking right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Really, really happy, Kanika, for you.
Thank you once again. Thank you once again. And I hope we get in touch soon.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Looking forward.
Looking forward. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, ma'am. And Kanika ma'am also. Or I must tell, because when I attended the session of Megha ma'am on learning and development, I have noted down the point what she has told, and we are implementing these kind of points in our training and development, because I'm taking care of the career development of the institute. So definitely these all things are very important, because the team has to be motivated, the student has to be motivated, and everybody has to be motivated. For that, we have to keep a balancing in between student, parents, teacher, as well as the recruiters also. So with this, I'll take the last question, because already one question is left with us. Pranjal, one of our BTech student, has asked the question: because of the current situation of COVID leading to disruption in the industry, traditional way of working now has become a past. How will HR manage the difference between the past and present, and how to hide the problems?
Yeah. So thank you, Pranjal, for that question, and thank you for asking that. And I think somewhere I covered in my conversation as well with you all. But now think about it. Multiple organizations have started to think this differently. I had, you have heard TCS announcing 75% of their workforce going completely work from home, where it's not going to be a work from home, but literally I would say work from anywhere, because you can be in Timbuktu, or you can be in Goa, or you can be in Chandigarh, or imagine, you don't need to be in US to work tomorrow. Obviously, your taxation and labor laws will be different, but those would be couple of things that absolutely would be there. I would say, is HR ready today? I don't think so. I don't think so many organizations have even started to think there. Like, I'll give you an example of my own organization, right? We do know this. We know that our productivity has seen a spike once we have gone to 100% work from home, because people are not traveling 1.5 hours or 2 hours to their office in Bangalore or Chennai or even in NCR. But have we solved for it fundamentally? I don't think so. We are still saying, oh, we want to wait and see how situation goes. We have declared a work from home till December, but we haven't fundamentally thought about what is our location strategy model for future. We're still going ahead with the traditional way of thinking that we will have large offices. We may not have 100% workforce at the same time for, say, coming 1 year, but we aren't thinking it fundamentally differently. But if you have to genuinely ask me as an individual, I believe this pandemic situation is not a pause button. It's not a button where we say, oh, there is a pause of everything that we were doing, and one day this pause button will come and say, oh, again, start the button, and everything just rewind it and go from where it was. I fundamentally believe that it's not the story. We have to start thinking as a restart button, which means we have to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, whatever we were doing was the past. Now we need to think about what's the new way of working, what's the new way of workplace, what's the new way of skills. And that's how we need to see this pandemic situation. Think about, and I'll go back again to my childhood, one of my childhood memory of saying, when I take my night calls with the US, I just go down to my society and just walk, because I'm like, done with my day sitting on a laptop in a room and just doing that. And one thing that I noticed so predominantly is the fact, you look at the moon, I haven't seen that brighter moon or spots on the moon since my childhood. And that poses a big question to all of us to say, are we doing this in the right way? Is this pandemic situation to think about what have we done to the environment? Not that it was never an issue, but this really brings us to that question. We have seen a success in work from home model. We have seen success in productivity getting increased. Why don't we fundamentally start thinking differently is a big question to all of us. And I'm saying all of us means as a leader like me, leader like Kanika, leader by many more leaders in the world as well. And we need to start to fundamentally think what jobs can completely go remote work, and we should absolutely make it happen. Think about if 50% less cars in the environment. Think about 50% less real estate that you need. Think about less urbanization that will happen because people can stay in their hometowns and still work. Think about how many costs that you save. Think about how much water that you less need, how much electricity that you lesser need. And we need to start thinking and start those motives. I would love if I am part of one of those social/economic change in the world, because it's not for one organization, but it is the entire world that we owe for. And I feel that's much more deep rooted. I feel that's a restart button, as I said, and not a pause button. Then we need to start. But I see it's a slow journey that we are into. I see many organizations started on that journey, but after that I've seen people want to do a wait and watch game before they actually come up with that actual new location / any more strategies to go forward. So long answer, but those were my thoughts on that.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, ma'am. It was really an enlightening session for all of us. And you might not be believing, because we have extended the session for half an hour, or still near about 100 plus audience is available with us, because that is a glory of these kind of online session, that we cannot stop anybody, right? If somebody in the seminar hall and somebody expert or any kind of a keynote speaker is giving the speech, so if they are not liking or they are disliking, they have to be there in the seminar. But that is the feature of online, because the students are coming by their own and staying for a long time by their own. So definitely it was really a great learning for all of us, or especially for me, because in your earlier session I have learned a lot. In this session also it was a great learning for me as well as for the institute. And Director Sir is also appreciating a lot the way you deliver. And with this, I thank to Megha ma'am for accepting our invitation, giving your valuable suggestions and the time. And thanks to everybody. Thanks to the team. It's Director Sir also for supporting in this kind of event to all of us. And with this, I think now we can take a leave. The whole event was live on Facebook. So if anybody couldn't see that whole webinar or the expert talk, they can also see on our Facebook page, and they can again see the whole expert talk. With this, I will say goodbye to all. And I think with the permission of Director Sir and Megha ma'am, I think we can leave for today. And it was really a great session for us. And we are honored, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And in case if you have more questions, I think Arvind has my email ID. If Arvind can consolidate all questions, I would be happy to take it up as well. So not that it's the end of the journey. As I said, I have a very, very now, obviously knowing Kanika is there, I am personally involved in this institute now. So absolutely happy to take, if there are any follow-up questions, and if someone can curate those and send it across, I would be very happy to answer those as well. So thank you so much.
Sure, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks for sparing your time. And it was really a great pleasure listening your thoughts and the entire journey. And you have in a very smooth manner, you have put forward the real situation and what is going to be the future in terms of HR as in vertical. So I'm sure your insight has benefited the entire participant, our student, and as a faculty and as an institute also, we have learned a lot about what is going to be the trend, what are the things which we need to incorporate in our teaching learning process so that our students are more industry ready. So sincere thanks a lot, ma'am. We are deeply honored that you have spared. We know we have extended almost whatever time we have taken, we have extended by half an hour, but I hope you will pardon us for that thing, that the session got extended from our side, but that's what Arvind has said. The participation itself reflects that the audience was very well connected. So thank you, ma'am. We are extremely happy. And once again, on behalf of Gitanjali, I thank you for your session. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Vikas. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.